Hello everybody, welcome to demo time. Thanks everyone for coming out. I'm sure people will be shuffling in here as everybody's still digesting lunch. But we've got 3 awesome demos lined up for you. First up, we have Michael Erickson, who's going to be talking about his face swapping mental well-being app, Persona. I'm excited to hear about that. We also have Joe with Go Boldly, which is a financial literacy education mobile app. Joe's should be here any minute. Or hiding in the back, okay. Cool hat, I like that. Yeah, that's what threw me off. And then we also have Titan. Is Titan here? Okay, they will probably be here. If not, Sami also has a surprise for us at the end. She may be doing a little pitch of her own. So no idea what it's about. She just said I might steal 5 minutes at the end. So just a couple of announcements. Thanks to Vegas Theater Company and the awesome staff here for obviously making every month a complete surprise as to how our stage is gonna look. But obviously every time we come here, there's always a projector, and that's all we need, and we appreciate you guys for hooking that up and also working through the technical things as we run into those sometimes. So thanks to Vegas Theater Company. If you ever want to check out a show, definitely check this place out. Also, I hear improv night's really cool. Also, thanks to Tech Alley, obviously. Tech Alley is been going on for, I think, over 2 years now. And I mean, wow, it's just grown so much since the beginning. I just can't believe the amount of passion I see in people and their projects and the amount of networking. And, you know, it's just great. I was sitting down eating lunch earlier, and 2 people were exchanging information because they're both kind of working on a similar project that they both need help with each other. So, I mean, that's exactly what this place is for, right? Meeting other people, hearing interesting ideas, and sharing free knowledge, right? The other thing I want to say is, so thanks to Joshua Levitt, James, all the co-organizers. Thanks to Ryan for always recording these and putting these up on the Tech Alley YouTube. If you ever do want to check out any of our previous meetups, they're all recorded there and cataloged, and we have Ryan to thank for that. He always does a good job about bugging me with an email every single day after getting him the information. I'm joking. I'm giving you a hard time. Yes, on YouTube. Just if you search Tech Alley, it comes up, right? Yeah. A couple of sponsors. We have a corporate co-working. They're a co-working space over by Allegiant Stadium. They're awesome. Great place to work. Corporate co-working. Yeah, that's the name of the co-working space. So if you mention that you're a Vegas Programmer member, you get special discounts and I think a free day pass to check it out too. So check them out. I believe that's about all for my announcements. Do you have anything, Sami?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. Okay, awesome. So without further ado, oh yeah, yes. Wi-Fi, you can use Artifice Guest. Yeah. I believe there's a Vegas Theater Company one as well, but I've always been able to get away with the Artifice Guest. If you do have issues, Homeboy over here could probably give you the password to that. Shout out to this dog, I love it. And yeah, let's kick it off. So without further ado, Michael Erickson with Persona.
Hey everyone. All right. Can everyone hear me? All right, awesome. How's everyone doing today?
Great. The mic is for the recording. It does not amplify. There is another.
Do I need that?
If you want. Yeah, just kind of project yourself a little.
All right. Can you hear me now? Yes. Awesome. How's everyone doing today?
Good.
Awesome. So my name is Mike, and I've been working on something called Persona by myself since about 2020. So if I approach you and if I say, hi, my name is Mike, and I am making Persona, that looks a little gruesome. But if I say, hi, my name is Mike, and I'm pursuing Persona, same concept. it's a sharp tool, and if used appropriately, may provide benefits to humanity. So what I'm talking about is face swapping and voice cloning technologies in a real-time setting for mental health care. Deep fakes, face swapping, generative adversarial networks, all of these terms basically mean the same thing, and they've been known to do some harm. They've been known to destroy people's reputations. They've been known to change public opinion about public officials, and they've also been known for entertainment purposes. Like David Beckham, there was this thing that was produced. It was a PSA about some health concern that David Beckham was the star of, and the technology behind it, the face swapping, allowed his lips to move in a different kind of language, in 9 different languages, and he only spoke one. So let's see. So my question is, can this heal? Can it prevent illness? And what I mean by healing is, in a mental health setting, if there is a counselor or a psychologist on one end, and it's used as a filter with a subject or a patient on the other end, what will the outcomes be? Will it reduce disparities? Will it allow people to heal? The other one, can it prevent illness? So in medical terminology, there's a thing called flow, and that's when people are in a state of, like, I'm on it, I got this, I'm an astronaut and I know what I'm doing, and I'm in space and I can go on a spacewalk because I'm in the state of flow and I'm high functioning, right? So that's the question. How can a patient-subject trial for the science community, the medical community, be, how can it help, or will it harm? Recently, within the past month, this article came out for a NASA study. People are still applying for the study. I don't represent NASA, but it's a psychological loneliness study in being able to determine, will a person be able to survive with just 4 or 5 people inside of a closed domicile on the surface of Mars and undergo extreme isolation. So it's available to apply to if you have, like, the physiology and the mental acuity that an astronaut would, up until April 2nd. And there's a QR code if anyone's interested. But back in 2020, during the highlight of COVID, I was in my apartment by myself, and I was struggling getting in contact with people. With this loneliness that I was feeling, I was trying to understand what could be done when there's a limited scope of people. There are other technologies, like one that was released recently called EMO, and that had come from China. And with it, it's generative adversarial networks in a way using generative AI. So it's this artificial intelligence without a person on the other side. What I'm proposing is a filter, and to see, will a medical provider who's in front of a camera in real time with voice cloning, or real-time optional, because some people can't hear, some people are deaf, some people need ASL in order to be able to communicate, right? And then have the patient on the other side. The statistics for how many people are in the United States that work in the mental health industry from the Bureau of Labor Statistics and Psych Central are about 1 million. That's relevant because what's the technical aspect of this? What's going to be required in order to conduct an effective and safe human subject trial within the realm of university settings or approved World Health Organization settings? So for safety, that requires being able to have defense in depth, right? Layers upon layers upon layers. Because this is used as a tool for evil, and because it's used as a tool to sway public opinion about something, defense in depth is necessary in order to keep it locked down as best as possible. So if there is an online like cloud, software as a service, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service to be able to access from a medical facility and to determine whether or not, hey, this is a doctor, this is a mental health counselor, and these are the people who are approved to use this and use it ethically, right? But there are also other technical aspects like power and environmental controls, and that means that there needs to be UPSs, which are uninterruptible power systems, hot sites, to be able to keep it up and running. You have to consider bandwidth requirements when people are in a video conference talking to another person who is going to be cut off or interrupted during that, and how does that stop? But other kinds of computing resources are necessary, like data replication for backup purposes, and in order to make sure that the HIPAA information and high-tech and other healthcare information is safe. The ability to recover from being held ransom is really important. The operations and staffing costs are necessary to deal with the about 1 million people who work in medicine to help mentally ill people. And then there's also people who have to do quality testing and additional storage systems. So what I'm really saying is for a call to action is there should be a turnkey application that medical personnel can use in order to determine the efficacy of healing people, getting rid of mental illness as best as possible, or preventing it. Other things that should be thought about if someone has a technical background is how does the delay get better? Because when a person is dealing with real time, it's not really real time. If you watch an NFL game, you're not seeing it live when it says it's live. There's a delay, and that's necessary for a bunch of different reasons. So how does this delay get smaller in order to improve the connectiveness and responsiveness from both sides of the interaction? So other things that need to be better are image, audio, and video collection for people who are consenting, because governance is a really big thing, and people's privacy is important. Let's see. So this is a book, and I'm not a mental health professional, and I'm not a medical professional. I come from a cybersecurity background, and that's how I discovered what deepfakes are. This diagnostic and statistical manual of mental disorders gets updated every so often, and what I'm calling for is a test to each one of the illnesses that are in there. A long time ago, there was something called Capgras syndrome. Capgras syndrome was when there was a person who saw another person and didn't recognize them even though they were a family member. So if there was a mental health counselor to determine, all right, this should be done or that should be done, or maybe I should say this or that to see if that can be healed. If that was available back then, I'm sure people would go for it. And going forward, like autism, think about children who have social obstructions, being able to interact with other people. How can appearing like someone else, if someone is trained in how to help autistic children, help those children interact with as many different people as best as they can, right? So I'm open to collaborate with anyone. Like I said in the beginning, this was something I was pursuing on my own since 2020. I'm looking for technical people, I'm looking for medical people, anyone and everyone. If you're interested, please send me an email. And there's my GitHub if anyone's interested. So there's a question, and I'd like to see what other people think about it. Let's say that this is available and you're a medical professional and you work with a clinic or a hospital, and you have to pay $300 a year on a subscription-based model. Just to gauge, does that seem fair to anyone? About $300 a year or $30 a month? Okay.
Is that per person?
That's per person, right? So with the statistic, it's if there's 1 million people and only half of them decide to take this on, if it is successful and can be proven to heal people, that would produce about, it was $150 million a year before being able to pay for the storage and all of the other requirements. But if it's done to help people, why not, right? But being able to take this to the medical board and find the appropriate personnel to advocate for it is something that's in my agenda. I want to be able to see, will using face swapping technology, because deepfakes has that dark undertone. It's like that butcher knife, and it's a little scary. But if you say face swapping and voice cloning in real time, it might appear to be a little bit better. And I want to know, like, will it help or will it not help? What can be done in order to produce less harm? So does anyone have any questions? I'll open the floor. Yes?
So can you clarify a little bit further kind of what the purpose is of like the face swapping or of the voice changing? Like what is it, like why would we be doing that if we're working with a medical or health professional in space?
That's a good question. It's to see how people can respond. I personally witnessed some mentally ill people who were experiencing psychosis, right? And it's ultimately up to the physician to be able to see, does this person need to be on a medication as well as being in an interaction with me, and will that medication only be a temporary thing? Will that medication be something that's tapered off, so only social interactions might help, and it might change whatever neurological thing could be going on inside of a person's brain. But that's to be seen. That's what I'm calling to test. Yes?
So, Persona is the app you're talking about, right? That you're thinking about creating.
Yes.
How, piggyback off of her question there, how is the app going to, I guess, see through facial recognition a person has a problem? Yeah, because there are people who have maybe heart attacks and they're going to be a little off, one side down, stuff like that. So how is it going to be able to tell?
That's a really good question. If you want to shoot me an email, I'll let you know. I'll send you an NDA. I've been working with an intellectual property attorney with this already, and that's something that I need an NDA for.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yep.
So,
Yes.
I mean, 300 seems cheap because anything medical related, especially if insurance covers it, you can probably charge 30,000, right? It seems like this could be a good thing to motivate good behavior. You know what I mean? But I'm sure some morality questions would also come into play with it. So I'd be curious. Not this is more of like a question if you talk to any medical, like therapists, things like that, about how they would feel about using something like this. Because on one side of the token, I could see it where it could be really powerful to maybe not only entertain but also promote good behavior. If they need to take medication and they're not, and whatever, they like Matthew McConaughey for some reason, and you come on his bed and he's like, hey, I'm in my Lincoln, I'm taking my meds, you should too, or something.
Right.
Maybe there's some morality questions on the therapist side of it where they may not feel comfortable with it too. But it might be a way for them to still, get the therapy to a successful state. So I'm curious if maybe there's somebody that knows therapists that can refer you to, but it'd be interesting to interview therapists. Like, have you talked to, therapists or professionals like that?
Yes, I've met a few people, and I've kind of pitched it to them, and I didn't really get much of a response. But it's been less than 10 people that I pitched it to. I feel like when it comes to therapy, this should be something that is accepted on a global scale. Because if we're not all in it together as humans, then what's the point, right? Like, why are we talking to this silicon-based, inanimate object? What's the point of that? Well, why are we staring into devices? Why are we doing all of that when it's really about the social interactions? And if people do happen to get this diluted sense as dictated by a doctor, right, or as diagnosed by a doctor, it should taper them back to a reality instead of some kind of sense of grandiosity or whatever may be afflicting them to prevent them from normal human behavior. But that's a touchy subject, and I'm not the medical expert. I'm someone who's been facilitating this, and it did dawn on me because I was lonely, and it was 2020, and it was COVID, and the region I was in Florida, was on lockdown, and no one was allowed outside of their home unless they had an agenda to go to work or go back home. And when I sat in my living room, I had the hardest time reaching out to people, and that made me think something should be done. But I'm not just going to talk to this inanimate machine, right? Because this isn't some Black Mirror fantasy. This is something that should take people out of that realm and back into some kind of normal social interaction and life pattern.
We have time for one more question.
Thank you so much.
All right.
I'm Joe. I'm Mahavuthivanij, founder and CEO of Go Boldly, and we are trying to teach financial literacy in less than 15 minutes a day. You can kind of think of Go Boldly as like a cross between Duolingo meets Oregon Trail meets Choose Your Own Adventure, set in space for financial literacy. Big Trekkie kind of influenced that. So maybe some who we are and some background first. Awesome, that works. So our team is made up of technology, like fintech specifically, edtech, and finance, and also veterans. And so we have a couple of veterans on the team. And so my background's in product and growth at startups of all stages. Also spent about 4 years in venture capital, investing in fintech and enterprise SaaS, about 200 portfolio companies across 4 funds and a fund of funds. And then left to start my previous company called Mythic Markets, where we turned high-value collectible assets like comic books, trading cards, fantasy art, and video games, $1 million versions of those, into fractional investments that you can buy, sell, and trade shares in those things. And then we were at the height of COVID when alternative assets were skyrocketing. We exited to a company called Sidecar in the SPV space, and there was a lot of interesting opportunities during that time. And then since then, I've since left Sidecar and done a lot of angel investing. I think since I left, I've done probably 24 deals. And also invest out of my fund, Thanks Partners, where I focus on health, wealth, and happiness. So it seems like there's probably a lot of entrepreneurs in the room. Probably is. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs kind of dream about raising capital, growing their companies, and eventually exiting. And it sounds amazing, but what they don't tell you is that as an entrepreneur, a lot of times you really enjoy building things for yourself and kind of exploring new unexplored kind of projects. And so when I was at Sidecar, the team and everything was integrated there, and the company's still crushing it like crazy. But what they don't tell you is that despite the fact that as an entrepreneur you probably don't sleep that well each day, once we were acquired, at least for me, I slept a lot better, but I never woke up ready to jump out of bed every day to work on what I was working on. At that time I had about 30 reports, and so not to diss Sidecar, they're crushing it. They're doing great, and the team's awesome. But I kind of looked at being there as like building software to make rich people richer, and that was not something that was that motivating. So actually, it wasn't motivating for my co-founder either. So we both left, and started kind of exploring new things. And in my case, I was just trying to figure out what to do next. Was doing a lot of investing. And spent a lot of time helping friends with their personal finances, whether it was buying their first home at that time, investing, doing a lot, syndicating a lot of deal flow too, or just I don't know, basic things like creating a budget. And so and so I'd spent a lot of time with them, doing that, and it kind of dawned on me that financial illiteracy is like an epidemic in this country, and it really plagues everyday Americans, and really drags them down and sets them back. And what's really important is to start your financial literacy early, and that's why we decided to build Go Boldly, which is we make finance fun and engaging, primarily for young adults. And I saw some folks with the phones out. There'll be QR code that you can download the product. So we basically create these bite-sized curriculums, for pretty much any financial topic. and that meets sort of the learners where they are in their own lives. And so, we do that using a lot of AI. AI makes that really easy, and we've got like a pretty robust pipeline for automatically generating content. Although we haven't productized it yet, it's coming. And so, we call these journeys because these are sort of these inflection points in our lives, and everybody goes through them for the most part. People just don't know where to start, frankly, a lot of times. And so, we use AI to generate all of our content. It makes it way faster and easier and cheaper, frankly. If anybody's come from like an education background or any kind of written or content background, it can take months to or more to create content that's like high quality and engaging and accurate. And so so we use for our content, we have OpenAI or ChatGPT generate the sort of outline. We pull videos from YouTube that are relevant and high quality and short, and then automatically generate evaluations based on that content. And then we also have and are integrating a cast of characters into the learning experience. They're sort of like your interstellar guides, across the financial frontier as you go through space. And so, we use a lot of Midjourney, 11 for voice cloning. We use a lot of our teams and friends' voices for that, and then DID for the animation, and then some other tools as well. And so that'll be dropped pretty soon. But we only launched about 3 weeks ago, and we primarily distribute, and our primary customer, frankly, is B2B2C. And so, we work with educational and nonprofit, institutions that distribute this as part of their curriculum on financial literacy, and working on a lot of really interesting partnerships and relationships there. So if you'd like to download and check it out, it's free, and I guess in terms of asks, would love feedback. It's limited in the core loop right now because it's brand new. There's a lot of things backed up on linear right now that we just don't have enough bandwidth to go after as we bring this to our partners. So also, if you know any financial institutions like banks, credit unions, nonprofits, educational partners that are in the financial literacy space, would love to talk to them. So that is Go Boldly. Oh, actually, I'll keep that other one up. I guess questions. Yes, sir.
Hey, love everything that you're doing. It's really awesome. And I'm downloading the app right now.
Sweet.
The user flow for logins happening through a bot that's seen out the first time. So I work with a couple nonprofit groups. What type of B2B partnerships do you provide for that? We look for, at least at this stage, any kind of institutions that are trying to teach financial literacy to cohort of people. And so, we're currently working with first generation investors, next gen personal finance, working on some stuff with the National Guard and the DoD, and a few banks as well. Yes.
What veterans organizations are you working with?
So I guess they would be veterans, but so we're in discussion with the DoD and the National Guard Challenge.
You should work with the Space Force too. They're building up, really trying to work with the Guardians, and build, facilitating all sorts of things. So I think Space Force would be good.
Awesome. If anybody knows the Space Force, we'd love to talk to them. Sweet. Yeah.
What's the age range for this? High school to adult, or is it just adults?
Officially, young adult, 18 plus.
unofficially, like anybody can like download and use it. It's limited in terms of like the core loop itself is like pretty straightforward right now, but there's a lot of other things that we're building in. But yeah, so young adults, 18 plus officially. Anybody? Yes.
So, I use Credit Karma, and I could see this being like they might even buy this out, but I guess is there anything you're planning on patenting or like protecting your idea? Because it seems like could possibly I'm surprised Credit Karma hasn't done this already, because like are you kind of going in that direction where they would start to tie in their finances so they can kind of get like a dashboard?
Yeah. So. Yeah, exactly. So like whether it's like a Credit Karma or NerdWallet or any kind of those kinds of platforms, yeah, definitely we're starting to have those conversations and know all the basically know everybody there.
Because as far as monetization, what are your plans now?
Lead gen.
Lead gen, yeah. Mm-hmm. For those exact purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Nice.
Anybody else? Yes.
Like a lot of the content is basically through different sources of the internet, like YouTube and things like that,
yeah.
Right? How do you ensure that the content is, I guess, like, legitimate and, not something that could be misinterpreted or anything like that?
So that's been the biggest pain in the automatic generation stuff, which is why we haven't released the where you can just ask it anything and generate the content. Maintaining quality has been sort of a continuing pain, and so we're building in features to be able to swap stuff out, live if it's not great, you can up and down vote that, but those are all things that we are tinkering with on the back end to figure out what the best method is, which is why we haven't published the content pipeline. But you're right. That is quality is definitely a challenge, and right now we can just kind of change a few things and teach anything using this method, but content or quality is still the challenge. Yes.
I have a quick question. Yeah. So, are you going to be able to add the feature where you can choose two stuff to learn from? I say that. Are you going to be able to add a feature where you can select 2 or 3? Learn at the same time.
To learn what?
To learn at the same time, able to
publish several profiles. 2 of your
let's
kids
say I
can.
just set up one right now.
Yeah. So it's a very much a single player experience right now. But the social aspect is something that we just need more time. So I mean, the name of the game really was just get it out there as quickly as possible. Get feedback, get it into people's hands. Provide value, and yeah, see if people actually like it and whether or not it works. But yes, multiplayer is something that's on the roadmap.
From idea to App Store, what was your timeline?
So it'd been going through a couple of iterations. I would say and there were some delays actually too, and timing things. 6 to 8 months, thereabouts, yeah. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So just to kind of get a better idea, did you say this is like a gamification of financial literacy? How many different kinds of math games are involved in this?
Did you say math games?
Yeah, math games. So kind of like the Harvard math game NIM, which kind of equates to like column or typos.
So the complexity at this stage is limited. So we've decided to kind of just get it out there with multiple choice quizzes based on the directly on the content. In terms of personalizing, that's something that we're headed towards. Where if we learn a little something about you, you might have a dog named, I don't know what your dog's name is, but or your name might be Josh, or you may be married or a homeowner or whatever. and be able to craft all of those evaluations like to you. Sweet.
Awesome.
No?
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Good job, Joe. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Go boldly. I like it. Hopefully my daughter uses it, because so far I'm her bank account right now. Yeah. Maybe yeah. I'd be like, if you complete this, then you can get your Depop funds to buy whatever she's buying on there. That I get yelled at by my wife. Okay, so do we have Titan here? Because they are the last presentation. Awesome. We've got Titan. So, oh, okay, cool. And like I mentioned, Sami has a little thing she wants to plug real quick. So, no, Titan. Okay, cool. Yeah, come on up. We'll get you plugged in.
At our launch party this time at 4 p.m. These are some of our greatest leaders from Las Vegas. They're building something really cool. But what we would love to do is they're going to demo today here. And then if you guys would like to come eat food with us, celebrate the launch of this great startup, you can meet them again in the courtyard at Taverna at 4 o'clock. Headed over to Megan and Isaac.
Thank you.
Hello. So what's really cool is we have a gift for every single person that's tuned in and in the audience right now. So if you all would look under your seats, you'll see that there's nothing there. But afterwards, I promise you, we have a gift for each and every single one of you. So please stay tuned for that. My name is Isaac Reed, CEO of Titan, and this is...
Hi, Megan. I'm the COO of Titan.
Awesome.
And together with our team, we have some here and some abroad, and we are creating some really fun things for you guys.
Awesome. So let's dive into this. So this is the team that we have a few more, but the space is limited on this slide. But we have a phenomenal team. I myself, I've been in technology for about 15 years, 12 years. I'm aging myself, but 12 years. And I've had the very fortunate circumstance of having 2 exits, one in the mobile gaming space back in 2015, the other with a wine company that was somewhat related to tech. And so over the last couple of years, I've kind of been doing mostly consulting for a lot of technology companies, building cool products. And it was recently where I teamed up with Megan and the rest of these guys to make something really, really cool.
Yeah, and so it's just, me, anybody who's met me, has interacted, I am the connector, which makes sense why I am now, starting last year, was part of GEW, and this will be our 3rd year hosting in Las Vegas. And it really is around just making those connections and building big things and really kind of bringing visionaries together to see what is possible. And that's what we really recognized in one another, right, at the very informal initial meeting that we had.
Yeah.
And as we've built our team as well. And so really kind of seeing what is possible in somebody, pulling that out and amplifying it.
Cool. We have 2 other guys on the slide here. That's our Chief Marketing Officer, Michael, who does an incredible job with branding and marketing ROI. And then a lot of startups aren't so fortunate to have an in-house engineer, and we have an in-house engineer who's actually a former Google engineer, so you guys might see some of the self-driving cars that he's worked on in the past. So we have a really good team and a tight-knit family, and we're hoping that we can bring you guys aboard our family as well.
Yeah. All right, so just going right into our mission, and it's wanting to just make an extension of you. There's so much talk about AI and what's going to happen, what's going on, all this craziness. There's lots of fear mongering that goes around, but we look at it at a different way. It really is not how AI is going to take over you and take over the world, but how can it amplify you? How can it help you enhance? And so that's what we're building with Titan.
So the problem that we really wanted to come together and solve is that the usefulness of generative AI is limited to what you can put into it. While it's a great technology, nothing wrong with it in that sense.
I don't know how to fix that.
Oh. Bit of a technical wall.
I know, see, this is why I'm the non-technical founder. I surround myself with technical people.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Well, Ice is on our team too, guys. He rocks.
Yes. So going back to kind of the usefulness of generative AI, one example that I often use is, so I wanted to type up just a formal contract agreement, and I asked ChatGPT to do it for me, and looked at it, sent it over to my lawyer. My lawyer was like, hey, it's not bad, there's nothing wrong with this, but you're missing a few different pieces that can make this contract a bit better. But I'm only limited to my knowledge of how to write, one, prompts, but also legal clauses, right? And so we see that being an issue with generative AI. The other thing is that a lot of things that generative AI gets its information from is by scraping the internet. And so what you're seeing now is that the internet is becoming extremely populated with material from generative AI. And so once it scrapes the material that it's generated, it becomes a lot more prone to error and crashing. And you're going to see that within the next couple of years, a lot of it. And there's technology companies that are trying to safeguard from this, but essentially we're kind of seeing that now, and we want to avoid this.
Yeah, and really it goes into that whole diversification and inclusion conversation as well. And so depending on, again, what you're putting in is what you're going to get out. And, you know, I just want you to just think on one time where you went to search for something. You have it in your head of what you're looking for, but maybe you can't figure out, how do I articulate to a machine what it is that I need or what it is that I'm looking for? Maybe I kind of know, but there's a big gap. Well, again, that's the gap that we are filling with this personalized and intuitive AI as opposed to generative, because again, to our point, it's only as good as what you put in. And so if, you know, depending on what that may be, yeah, you may get an elevated option for what you originally put in, but it still may not take you in the direction that you're looking for.
Yes. And that kind of just piggybacks off Megan's point, and our goal is to personalize AI. So one, using some of your own information to enhance how you experience AI, but also how you use AI to experience the world around you. And so that brings us to Titan. The start of this is going to be our mobile application. And what we do is we take information from your native applications, which would include health statistics, calendar information, etc., and being able to use AI and our intelligent learning models that we've created and algorithms to be able to interpret and make intuitive guidance and suggestions based off that information. One example that I often like to give is, you might see your heart rate come up. I often see mine come up if I'm wearing my Fitbit, etc. I don't know what 190 means, quite frankly. I'm not a cardiologist. And then if I do know if 190 is bad, I have to kind of go down a rabbit hole and say, okay, why is it bad, or what do I need to do to fix it? But having something that says, hey, I noticed that your heart rate has been like this for the last 3 days. Here's something that I would recommend, and also I'll book a physician for you if you're open to it. So having something that does proactive and preemptive prompts rather than always having to be generative.
Yeah, and a use case that we've dove into deeply is, we all know our state flower, right? The cone. Yeah, the cone. Las Vegas is constantly under construction. I've lived here my entire life. I know this to be very true. And so I, knowing this information, have adopted a new process for myself of, if I have an in-person meeting, which I love that we've gone virtual because drive time, but if I know I'm going to be going across town, which it used to take me 20 to 30 minutes, will very possibly take me close to an hour, depending on where I'm going and depending on, what the traffic pattern is, what the weather looks like, if, who knows what. But I've gotten into that practice of, let me pull up my map, see how long it's saying it's going to take me right now. And God forbid there may be some kind of event that happens. And I don't just check it once, I check it multiple times. So again, that's where I go to my team and say, hey, this is something that I'm noticing, that I'm dealing with. I'm sure I'm not the only one. And can we impact this? Oh, yeah, we can. We're going to work on that, because that's the difference between having these multiple data points that we are using at once to then say, hey, I see that you have this meeting at 9 o'clock. It's looking like it's going to take you this amount of time, so you need to leave at this time. Instead of waiting for me to have to look at it thinking, oh, well, I looked at it last night, or I just kind of remember that it's going to take me about this long, but it's not giving me that real-time update.
So these are just some of the use cases. They're probably not super legible, but even a use case is something as specific as, hey, the crime has gone up in your area in the last 3 months. It's probably not a great idea to walk your dog this way. Would you like me to route you a different path to walk Fido, right? We can go on to the next one.
Yeah, I mean, single woman, yeah, we know that one. Safety is a thing.
So what's really cool, and what we didn't want to just settle with, is just a software. I think if there's 1,000 to 2,000 different AI software companies right now, and to kind of go into that pool, one, we don't think we would have as much of an impact on people individually, but also it's a bit of a crowded space. And so Titan actually pairs with our hardware device, the Titan Guide. It's a wearable badge, and so that goes back to that extension piece that we were talking about, where now you connect with your phone or through our app, and you're able to kind of mirror everything that Titan would actually do, but now it's outside on your body. So you can access all that information in real time, and we can kind of get into some of the specs if you wanted to dive into that or go more into this.
Yeah, and one of the ways that I really share about this is it's essentially going to be another eyes and ears for you. So this is your real-time data. We have the apps that'll connect to our app on your phone. The device is it's your enhancement, it's your Jarvis, if you will. And so for me, coming from the personal and professional development space, there's a lot of that communication, right? And it's however we're intaking information, then we process it, and then we have a reaction or an action. This can help us in that way. Again, that's where I say it's not taking over, it's that enhancement of let something else outside of you that really has your best interests help you kind of go through those life moments, whatever it may be.
And so these are some of the device specs. Now, you're going to actually be able to get a closer gander at this on the surprise that we're going to be offering you guys at the very end of this. But just as a sneak peek, the device is AI powered, which is essentially our operating system. It's going to have a high resolution camera on it, so it'll be able to capture, it'll know if you're eating red meat and compare that to your cholesterol levels and say, hey, I don't think this is a good idea right now for you to eat this steak. How about some, turkey, right? It will have Bluetooth connection, obviously, because it has to pair with the application, microphone and speaker. And what's really, really cool and dynamic that we've done with this device is creating a smart light strip. And so what that does is it changes colors. It wraps around the entire device. But let's just say you want to live in the world of silence and you don't want to have a device announcing all of your personalized information. Now that's something you can set and say, hey, if it lights up green, a reminder to take my insulin shot. If it lights up orange, maybe the air quality isn't so great. So now you have intuitive, customizable light strip alerts that you can actually work with on the device as well. And then of course, we have to attach it to you, and that is why we created a smart clip that magnetically connects the device to your shirt or whatever it is that you're wearing at the time.
Yeah.
And it comes in color.
I got excited about the red and the gold. If you guys have not picked up, there is this not so subtle nod to Iron Man. We kind of used it as an inspiration.
So there's a few guys out there, obviously we're better. And we'll kind of get into the landscape of this. I'll go through the first half, and the first one is intuitive OS. So a lot of the other devices that you see out there, they're generative, including your Siri. Siri's not going to wake up in the morning and say, hey, did you forget this on your calendar? It looks like you're passing it right now. Or, hey, I noticed that you're in this location. Did you want to pick up some flowers for your mom since it's Mother's Day? There's no intuitive pieces to any of these hardware pieces. That's where we specialize, is our OS. The other thing is we connect with your applications. So we don't want to just rob you guys of your hard-earned money and have you guys throw your phones away, right? We want to work with a device that you've already worked so hard to purchase and enhance that. So we will connect with your applications, native and non-native apps, so you can actually do tasks as well. Maybe you want to monitor your stocks for the day. Maybe you want it to send an email for you. So we'll be able to do that through connecting with your applications. And only Rabbit is the one that's doing that specifically as far as task execution. The other thing is we're affordable. And we'll get into the pricing component in a little bit, but the idea is, you know, paying $800 for a device like this doesn't really make any sense. And I'm sure you guys would agree that is astronomical and something that you probably wouldn't want to purchase. So we've made sure that we're at least half the price of our competition and something that can actually reach a wide range audience. And then again, our mission is to make this an extension of everyone, and we want to encourage that through the pricing point that we set.
There we go.
So this is the pricing right here. So the device is going to be $300, half the price of a Humane AI pen, roughly around the same price as a Rabbit device. Tab is going for about $800. So for the price of $300, you'll have this, and it'll be able to complement your environment along with your phone. You'll have a subscription for the application where there's a free plan where you'll be able to access the OS completely full on. And then if you want to pay 20 bucks a month, which I would strongly encourage, you can do the whole customizable light strip actions that you can work with on it. And then you'll also be able to connect with your non-native applications. So let's just say Uber, right? And just say, hey, I noticed you're stranded. Would you like me to call you an Uber? Sure, absolutely. And it does that for you.
And here we are. So we do our VIP launch is next Wednesday. So have you all take out your phones. That'll take you to the registration page. And that is going to be a keynote with Issac here. And it's going through all of just kind of taking you through just really what we have been working on, some more use cases, breaking it down. Got some fancy surprises.
Yes. So this is our gift to you guys. This is a VIP event that we've really extended mostly to our potential investors, partners, so on and so forth. But we want to open the audience for early tech adopters. So if you're filling out the registration form, feel free to select whatever category you see fit. But again, this is exclusive access. Not everyone is getting this, but we wanted to do this with Tech Alley because we want Tech Alley to come into our family fold. And we're happy to kind of share this with you guys. And again, I'll be on stage showcasing the device. You'll see it lighting up, all that cool stuff. And you'll be the first out of a lot of people to see this cool thing happen. So yeah.
This is a few days before it goes live to the general public. So you guys are getting your eyes on it first. You also will have the first opportunity to pre-order because the pre-order for a first round will be a lot smaller. So we want all of you guys to have an opportunity with that. And big one is feedback too. You guys are in this space with us. You've been working on so many different projects or been parts of different things, and we really value your voice. And so that's most important to us as well.
And if you guys see the time on there, do not hesitate, because if you still register, you don't have to make it, but at least you'll be able to get the video and recorded keynote after it's all said and done, so you can still see everything, and ultimately get the great discount on the pre-order price. So that is our gift to you guys. We'd love to open the floor for questions, I guess. And
Do you have time for one or two questions?
Yeah, please.
1, 2, are there any more? 1, 2, 3? Cool.
Go ahead.
So I'm wondering what happens to all the information that's gathered by the system, what privacy protections are in place, and have you considered monetizing different levels of privacy protection? So for example, if somebody has high cholesterol, likes to eat red meat, doesn't want that information going to their insurance company, is there some way that you can monetize that?
Definitely not monetizing it. But yes, privacy and just really ethical AI was our #1 from the get-go. That's one of our core values in building this out. And so that's also where guardrails are very important when building AI. But you'll speak more into really the depths of that. But yes, privacy, even as far as like facial recognition has been another question. And that's not what our camera is there for. It's really just, again, to help guide you and figure out what information you're needing at that time.
Right, and that's a beautiful question, honestly, and we take, like Megan was saying, we take privacy very, very seriously, and so we literally just extract the data and then it goes away. So we're not storing it anywhere, we're not selling it at all. And we're just taking it from your native apps, so that way Titan can just do a live diagnostics on, hey, this is what's going on, it reports it to you, and then it forgets it. So we'll never store your data.
Yeah, thank you. That was a good question.
So that's good, because I had two questions. That was one of them. My other question was to have a built-in environment then for APIs and plugins and third-party products. So, for example, calendar management. If I want to write my own calendar management schedule and have it available to Titan, can I do that?
Not at the moment, but possibly in the near future, and Megan would be the one that's pretty much running a lot of our large tech infrastructure, API integration partners and everything of that sort. So if you want to stay in close proximity with her and stay updated with that, she'll be more than welcome to, yeah.
My core question in that is that I've used a lot of products that want to try to guide me to do certain things, and I have my own process for certain things, and it irritates me, or trying to take me down a different path than I want to go. Like now you're just annoying me.
Yeah.
I want people to set my path. And say, when it's like this is my problem. This is how I want to do it.
That's good feedback, and the beauty of this is you can select which apps you want it to have access to and not. So if you're very particular on your calendar, hey, I don't need access to this right now. And the other part is Titan is going to be intuitive in a sense. It's going to learn what you're really interested in and not, and interacting with it on just through a day-to-day basis. So if it learns that you're not really into the whole calendar update piece, it'll start prioritizing the different prompts that do actually work for you.
Well, now that's confusing me compared to what you just said to her, because you said you weren't keeping any data, and now you're saying you're keeping data because you're learning about me.
If you're not holding the
Your responses. So what we do record how you're interacting with it, but that's completely different. We're not taking your cholesterol measurements over time as far as storing that. We're not taking your heart rates and storing that and selling it. We're only keeping and tracking how you're interacting with the device specifically. Yeah, but that's a great question.
Yeah.
So what is your guys' tech stack? I'm sure some of it might be explicit, but are you guys using a level of OpenAI as far as your language programming? How is that built out as far as just the development side of the tech stack?
It's a hybrid model, so we built a lot on our own, but we're probably using about 30% combination of Facebook Llama as well as some OpenAI, but we're actually going to stray away from OpenAI because they're slower, and I'm sure you've probably realized this as well. Grok is much faster than OpenAI right now, so we're going to be leaning towards integrating that. But yeah, right now it's a hybrid, and then 30% of that's not ours and our own built is going to be OpenAI and Facebook Llama.
On that point, you're not using Azure's OpenAI?
Pardon me?
You're not using Azure's because there's an OpenAI one that's directly from OpenAI, but then Microsoft hosted it with 99% SLA, like a service level agreement.
You're saying as far as a percentage wise, how much are we?
Are you using Azure or are you using OpenAI directly?
OpenAI directly, yeah.
Oh, you should just use Azure.
Yeah.
And it has better security on data too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just use Azure's version of OpenAI. It's the same. You will just have to change the URL essentially.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what we're doing. I mean, Miles is probably in the full stack of that, but from what I understand, yeah, that's what we're doing. So 100%.
Thank you all so much.
Yes, thank you.
Please make sure you register, guys.
That was really cool, right?
All right, last chance to scan the QR code here.
Make sure you guys scan.
That was really cool, right? Yeah. Who wants to demo next month? I'm going to show you guys a 5-minute version of a demo. Normally, you guys get 15 minutes. What I would love to inspire is what we call really good founder stuff here. And specifically, can you raise your hand if you've been to Who's Got My Money with Kurt in the morning sessions? We talk a lot about fundraising, right? There's 3 capital types that are easy to think of. Kurt will tell you 100. But someone want to shout some of them out?
Revenue.
Revenue is one.
Government funds.
Government, I'm going to put under revenue.
Loans, lending.
Lending, so debt financing.
VC.
Equity financing. VC would be equity. Sponsored capital would be a form of revenue. If you want to get nitty gritty with it, Kurt will run you through 100 different versions. But what I'm going to do really quickly is we're going to talk about revenue before you have a product. What I am doing today is normally you guys will see me build pitch decks, financial models, and data rooms for startups who are trying to get investment. And after spending a little bit of time with all of that, I realized that the metrics that a startup has when they're focused on building their product versus the metrics that an investor wants to see because they want to see that people will buy your product are super, super different. I'm going to show you guys just 2 slides. Sorry. You're good. Come on. Let's try this again. It'll get there. It'll get there. Or it won't. Okay. Sorry, it's just stuck. I have like 20 tabs open and they're all financial models, so my computer doesn't like me very much. I'm so sorry.
Normally it's a programmer that crashes their machine, but...
I really like financial models. Let me try this again. And then, is there any way to, come on. I really don't like that it does that. Okay, I know, right? I have 20,000 things open. Can I get, it's this one right here.
Okay, here.
It's this one right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a clicker.
I only have 2 slides. We're gonna do a true demo. So what that means is I want to show, not tell. I want to show you guys exactly what it is that I'm building. I'm only going to do the 2 slides that actually showcase what it is. And so I came in with a hypothesis, and I asked a bunch of investors to say, hey, does this work? And they said, no, absolutely not, we hate it. One of the reasons is because my hypothesis is very simple. Can you raise your hand if you believe that AI will make humans totally not needed in anything? They'll just completely replace us. Yeah, there's a couple people, right? This is a controversial topic. I was put in a room full of people who really believed in AI. And as much as I believe in AI, I also really believe in humanity. I believe, thank you. I believe that the human element is always going to be important. Can you raise your hand if you've ever wanted to Google something and you didn't even know what to Google? Hey, hello my friends. Can you raise your hand if you ever wanted to chat GPT something and then you were so done with prompt engineering? Hello, my friends. Wouldn't it be nice if instead of just paying $20 for chat GPT, you could pay $200 a month to get that escalated to a human that normally costs $200 an hour? This is my dream. My vision is that anybody who has ever said, it's too expensive for me to get help, it's $200 just to talk to someone for an hour, I can't afford that for my business, is going to say, I'm going to pay $200 a month to go get that same level of help, and I will close the gap myself because I'm a smart, capable human, but I still need a little bit of expertise when I don't even know what to Google and I don't know what to chat GPT. This is a conversation I had with a client that is currently paying for this. She does not use an AI. She texts me directly. What I would like to show you is that's a conversation ChatGPT could have with you. When you look at that, there's nothing in there that you go, wait a second, that's super hard to make an AI say. These are actually reasonable conversations that we can have with ourselves, but it's really helpful when someone else has it with us. We would just love to not have to pay $200 an hour for that. So what I'm doing right now and what we are taught is the best way to build in fundraising is to start with the customer, to listen for feedback. And the reason why I'm doing this right now, it's very, very scary to build in public, but this is such a beautiful community that really the reason I love demo time is because people who have a passion for something, so much so that they spend their weekends and their evenings all building something that they get paid absolutely nothing for, and they oftentimes have to spend their own money on. Those people come here and they share their dreams with you. They ask for very little, if anything at all. And what we are hoping to do is that we are hoping to use this as a platform to launch those brave souls into being able to make the impact they dream of for their community. I'm gonna go forward one slide. This is the second half of that conversation. This is a real client. Oh, I'll do the thing. Sorry. We're gonna be a little bit over time. I apologize. All right. This is the second half of that conversation. I normally do this in an hour on a phone call. I did this in 15 minutes via text. She got everything that she needed. She's implementing this in her business right now. She has revenue she didn't have yesterday, and she gets to be home with her kids while she does it. This is the change I want to see in the world. I was told that if I want this to happen, I need to go be a good founder. I need to go get people to tell me that this idea sucks and how to make it better. I need people who don't agree that it sucks, people who think that humanity and having a human element in our AI is worth something, to tell me that. If you're willing to sign a letter of intent, and more importantly, if you are a founder, please come see my letter of intent so you can steal it and go ask other people to do this for you. I will gift that to you. What I would really appreciate today is whether you love this or hate this, please come tell me afterwards, because if you hate it, I want a chance to change it. Not change your mind, just change what I'm building. If you love it, I would love your feedback. I would love you to sign a letter of intent. I would love the opportunity to build this. Not because every person in this room needs it, but because someone does. Because someone is not getting the help they need because it costs $200 an hour, and I would like to make that $200 a month. Thank you, Kurt, thank you. If you want to demo, what we are looking for is we want people to be able to show their products, to show something basic like this. This is not a single line of code. These are a bunch of images of text messages. I believe that I can get an AI to do this, and I would like for that to be a community effort where I build around the customer that wants to use it rather than just what's in my brain. Thank you so much, and if you'd like to demo, please reach out to myself or Joshua. We'd love to have you guys here with us next month. Thank you. Oh, I turned it off, sorry.
All good. If you do have a demo, phpvegas.com. There's a little submission form, a link at the top there. You can submit your, and the act is over. Anyway, we're going to have Vegas programmers come up here now. So that's the next one. There's a bunch of other meetups going on. Don't forget to check out Titan at 4 o'clock. We'll be meeting at Taverna over here. Feel free to stay here or check out one of the awesome other things. Thank you, Sami. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, everybody, for coming out.